Hey guys, welcome back to another video. What an eventful day we had in the first day of 2024. It started off with a massive missile launch from Al-Qassam brigades on central Tel Aviv and the northern parts of Tel Aviv, 1 minute post midnight last night, and they targeted Tel Aviv with J-90 and M-90 missiles. J-90 in reference to Ahmad al-Ja'bari, and M-90 in reference to Ibrahim al-Maqadma. Both of them were previous Hamas leaders that Israel assassinated. This was a massive message to Israel. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2024. This is what you're expecting in 2024. I mean, you're talking about one of the most advanced attacks since the beginning of the war. Obviously, the 7th of October is unmatched so far with about 5,000 missiles on the day. But if you take into consideration the ground invasion and all of the attacks, today included the biggest attacks on Israeli forces in Gaza and inside of Israel. On the ground, you're talking about massive operations against Israel from Al-Qassam brigades and Saraya al-Quds and Kata'ib Abu Ali Mustafa. We're seeing more activity from the smaller groups in Gaza. I'll start off with Al-Qassam and what they did to Israel. They attacked Israeli tanks and vehicles in multiple parts of northern Gaza, and they detonated a minefield, killing 15 soldiers next to Hay at-Tufah, which is in East Gaza City. All of these places are in North Gaza, by the way. All of their attacks, they were targeted in North Gaza as well, and Israel suffered many casualties apart from those 15 confirmed deaths that Israel still hasn't admitted to. They haven't confirmed their deaths, but the Palestinian resistance confirmed that they killed them. They usually confirm if they have evidence that they actually killed them. Abu Ubaidah also confirmed that the Al-Qassam brigades destroyed 71 vehicles, which means tanks and carriers and other vehicles for the Israeli military. They destroyed 71 of them in 4 days. Now imagine, these vehicles, they hold from 4 people onwards, so at least 4 people in a tank. Some of them carry up to 17 people. So you're talking about tremendous losses, really, and we haven't heard about Israel targeting the Palestinian resistance in anything significant. Now, when it comes to the other Palestinian groups, Saraya al-Quds, that belongs to the PIJ, they attacked a military base that Israel established in North Gaza, a very large base, at least 6 large tents and spying devices and radars. They attacked it with at least 6 rockets that were launched at the base from a building. Imagine that. They made holes in a building that was evacuated, that Israel bombed previously. They drilled holes in that building and they launched rockets at them from that building. And they confirmed that they targeted them directly, and they showed evidence that they had confirmed landings. They also attacked the base with mortar shells from other parts of Gaza. On the other hand, the PFLP armed wing, Kata'ib Abu Ali Mustafa, they confirmed that they attacked an Apache helicopter. Now, from what we've seen today in terms of actions and the smaller armed groups getting more into the action and fighting with Israel, it's signaling that there's more freedom of movement for the Palestinian resistance in Gaza. So whereas previously you used to see many actions of a person coming out of a tunnel, attacking and running straight back, today we saw many videos of them targeting them from buildings surrounding Israeli bases that obviously don't have any civilians in them. The fact that they're filming everything, they're targeting them from high places, the fact that smaller groups have more actions against Israel and more activity just signals that they have more freedom of movement. They're more comfortable in moving in Gaza. And again, that Israel has no control whatsoever when it comes to the resistance, their freedom of movement, and how often they attack Israel. Again, today was the most intense day, full of battle since the beginning of Israel's genocide on Gaza. And I mean, if you take up the numbers, Hamas confirmed they killed 15 in the detonated minefield. If you take into consideration the amount of Israeli vehicles and tanks that were destroyed, you're talking about at least 50 more. If you consider the base that Sarai al-Quds attacked, this base houses hundreds of Israeli soldiers, but we haven't had any confirmation from this group about any casualties, because obviously they didn't monitor the place, and Israel will obviously not confirm any casualties, especially when they're very intense. And this is coming at the same time that Israel reported today about many casualties from the Israeli army coming from friendly fire. Yediot Ahronot published an article confirming that at least 29 Israeli soldiers were killed during battle by the Israeli army. I'm not talking about hostages here, I'm talking about actual soldiers who are fighting in Gaza. And they specified the reasons of their death. Some of them were shot and others were ran over. So the Israeli tanks ran over Israeli soldiers in Gaza. Imagine how all over the place they are. It's not only that they're not seeing the resistance around them, they go out and they shoot tanks and no one's seeing them. And Israel doesn't have ground forces to support these tanks walking with them or behind them, next to them. And you're seeing that Israel is actually not in control of their own soldiers. Obviously, you've had soldiers fleeing previously, but the level of chaos is next level. And this is, again, just what they're admitting. It's only what Israel's admitting. They said 29 were killed due to IDF fire, or that they ran over them, or that they killed them by accident. This is a very large number. But if you take into consideration the actual numbers, the thousands, this number from Israeli casualties who were killed by the IDF could be way higher than the actual number published officially by Israel. Another very interesting thing here, the military rabbinate, who's in charge of the bodies and funerals, they confirmed that they declared 15 Israeli soldiers dead without seeing their bodies. Now, they sparked a lot of outrage when they confirmed that Oron Shaul, who Hamas kidnapped over 9 years ago, was killed, and they had a funeral for him, and they confirmed him dead, but without the knowledge of the place of burial, because his family was outraged by the fact that, number one, they don't know anything about their son, and then they declared him dead. Now, they have several reasons to declare a person dead: the amount of blood lost, the amount of hits, the effects on the other soldiers that were around him, lots of stuff that are included. But saying that, people don't like it, and it's not for sure, because Israel, again, they don't like their soldiers being held as captives, prisoners of war, by the resistance groups. And with Oron Shaul particularly, Hamas released a video about him that I spoke about a couple of videos ago, because it was his birthday on the 27th of December. When they kidnapped him, Israel targeted them. They killed 9 soldiers in that incident back then. And some people say Oron Shaul was one of them, but Hamas didn't confirm anything. Now, he and 3 other Israeli soldiers were in Gaza for many years before the 7th of October, which many family members of these people are constantly outraged about. The fact that Israel doesn't do anything to get them back. Now, imagine with the hundreds of the captives with Hamas now, how outraged these people are. And this just highlights again that Israel does not care whatsoever about its soldiers who are fighting and who are held captives by Hamas and the Palestinian resistance movements. And they're not all over the place in terms of the battle, by the way. They're all over the place politically. I mean, yesterday I spoke about the Israeli minister, Orit Struk, who criticized the Israeli air forces, saying that some of them don't help the ground forces for ethical purposes, as she described it. The head of the strategic department in the army, Toledano, who was present at the time, he said that it was a horrible question to ask, and he denied it, although she based it on a report that she got from a soldier directly. So he told her it was horrible, But then another thing happened. Netanyahu made a comment. He said, it's out of your place to comment on her question. So he told him off. He told the military guy, he told him off. He said, just answer the question, but don't comment on it. Commenting on it is not your place. This is highlighting the approach and the division in the political leadership in Israel and in the army as well. Like the IDF chief, who Netanyahu previously refused to allow into a meeting unless he was security checked, which sparked outrage at the time, he's no longer attending government meetings. The IDF chief, imagine, he is not attending government meetings. Herzi Halevi, he's not attending any of them. And there's a massive friction between him and Netanyahu. And obviously Netanyahu has problems with his own cabinet, who refused to see him and have press conferences with him. It's all over the place politically and militarily. The other development that I wanted to talk to you about is related to the USS Gerald Ford leaving to Virginia. It's not leaving to another place from the Mediterranean. It's leaving to Virginia. Why are they leaving? The war hasn't ended yet. Why are you leaving, US? Supposedly, when they came in, they declared that their aim is to deter Hezbollah and Iran from attacking Israel. But the war isn't done yet. And Hezbollah is still fighting Israel. In fact, we had a very tense day with Lebanon today. And Iran is not backing down. As a matter of fact, they sent a warship to the Red Sea today. So why is the United States withdrawing, finishing this mission? They're saying that their mission has been completed. So the reasons that they were deployed to finished, but the actual reasons haven't finished. If you're talking about the threat from Iran and Hezbollah, it's greater than ever. They're increasing the tone. So why are you doing it? It appears to be like this is another pressure move from the US administration against Israel. They previously told them you have a deadline up until the beginning of the year, and now Israel's crossing all of the deadlines. As a matter of fact, today we've had a report that Israel is confirming that this will last for 6 months. But at the same time, we're receiving so many contradicting things. They confirmed that they're withdrawing massive amounts of reservists and soldiers from Gaza. An Israeli source told Reuters that they're withdrawing these soldiers and reservists to revive the Israeli economy. Now, Israel's economy has been hit really bad. Everything's been on standstill since the 7th of October. They've suffered massive economic losses, unbelievable, unprecedented economic losses. But is that a reason to withdraw your troops? Also, he said that we want to carry out more targeted attacks against Hamas and prepare for a threat from the northern front. And if you're reading this like myself, you can see the contradiction. If you're saying that you're withdrawing these people to revive the economy, for them to go back to work, basically, how are they going to prepare for the northern front when they're working in the office? What are they going to have lunch and prepare to attack Hezbollah? What are they going to do exactly when they failed massively with Hamas? So the signs that we're getting are very, very mixed. On one hand, you have the people saying it's going to be 6 months. I mean, this source also told Reuters that the next 6 months will be critical and we're going to have to deal with the threats from Lebanon. But at the same time, in the same statement, you're saying that you want the people to revive the economy. If you want to withdraw troops and prepare them for another front, you send them to that front. So far, Israel didn't confirm, and we haven't had any statements, that they increased their presence in northern Israel, close to the Lebanese borders. And from what we're seeing on the ground, the Palestinian resistance, they have more freedom of movement. They're in control of more actions on the ground in Gaza, especially in North Gaza, the area that Israel was supposedly about to completely control, according to Yoav Gallant, the defense minister, a couple of weeks ago. And we're having these reports of them withdrawing, and they're getting more casualties, and they're being attacked more frequently, and the Palestinian resistance still has military capabilities to hit central Israel with strategic missiles. So all we're seeing on the ground, on the battlefield, is a victory for the Palestinian resistance and the Palestinian cause in general. I mean, obviously, you have the genocide attempt, you have the destruction in Gaza, you have them punishing the civilian population, you have all of these atrocities that all of us know about and read many times. But how do you end it? Israel only did its atrocities to deter the civilian population from living in Gaza and force them out. They're still talking about it. Like Bezalel Smotrich, he said that 1 million people in Gaza won't be living there soon because we need to give them incentives to leave Gaza to other countries. And they still have these ambitions and dreams and wishful thinking. Whereas the population of Gaza, the people of Gaza, not only that they're not leaving Gaza, they're going back to the north of Gaza. They're still going back to the north of Gaza. There was a report from the ground that Israel killed approximately 25 people in the last few days who are trying to go back to their homes, to their destroyed homes in the north, because they're well aware of what Israel did in 1948 in the Nakba, the ethnic cleansing, and they're well aware what they're attempting to do now. Now, some figures in Israeli politics were really happy to see Palestinians fleeing from the north to the south in the beginning of the war after Israel's massive attacks, their brutal, barbaric attacks in the north against innocent civilians. But they're going back up north. They don't want to leave because they know that Israel wants to resettle in Gaza and control Gaza again. And what the Palestinian population is saying, we're firmly behind our resistance. How many times did we see people coming out of the rubble, calling to support the resistance, asking them to attack Israel again, more than what they did before? Imagine people having lost families, destroyed homes, and they're supporting the resistance because they know what Israel's doing, and because they know their enemy very well and what they've done to them historically. So from what we're seeing at the moment, the Palestinian resistance is in total and full control. They're increasing their activities. They have more freedom of movement. They're channeling more weapons. And Israel is getting more and more beaten in Gaza in one of the worst days, if not the worst day, since the beginning of the war on the first day of 2024. So these were the main things I wanted to talk to you about today. As usual, I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Take care.